Hi, my name is Teresa Chin, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about social media and my own journey into social media. Now, I understand that actually some of you might be feeling a little bit bewildered about the whole world of social media and what it really has to offer you. And believe me, at one point I was exactly where you are now. I started this journey as an agency nurse, and I worked as an agency nurse for about 7 years as my children were growing up. And I found that throughout that time I became increasingly isolated from the nursing profession. Really didn't have time to sit down and talk to any other nurses, not even to the extent, to say, have you read this really interesting journal article? And I found that increasingly difficult. So it was actually through a conversation with my husband, who at the time was working in social media. He said, well, why don't you have a go at Twitter? It's a huge, wide, global community. You're bound to find a couple of other nurses there. And I have to admit to being really, really reticent about using Twitter. This was back in the days when actually there were no NMC guidelines or no NHS employer guidelines, and I really felt actually, why would I even want to go somewhere and perhaps potentially put my nursing registration at risk? And then I sat and thought about it, and I thought, well, actually, I'm not going to be doing anything that is going to put my registration at risk. I'm not going to be taking any risks. What I want to do is I just want to discuss nursing issues with other nurses. So I actually sat down and I had a go, and I started tweeting, and it took me a little while at first, but actually, once I'd kind of clicked on everything and worked out that you can't break Twitter, then I started to get a little bit more confident, and then I started to blog a little bit, and kind of start to tie in Twitter with the blogs that I was writing. And it was then through a discussion that I had with another nurse on Twitter, and we said, wouldn't it be great if we had a Twitter discussion that was for nurses? At the time, the doctors were doing something quite similar with a journal club. And so then I set up something called 20Nurses. And we back then held fortnightly discussions. Now we hold sometimes twice weekly discussions, and they're around all sorts of nursing subjects, from leadership to pressure ulcers and everything else in between. And what started as a very small idea and a very small community very quickly grew into over 27,000 nurses that are tweeting and following 20Nurses today. And not just that, we've also had other healthcare professionals start to use Twitter in the same way that we have. So we've created other we's. So we now have a we midwives, a we pharmacists, a we paramedics, a we docs, and all sorts of other communities, and they're all sharing within this space. And the great thing about sharing within this space is the wealth of knowledge that's available, because we have so many healthcare professionals and actually even so many members of the public within this space. Everybody adds a little bit of value, and this can really add to your continuing professional development. And we can take things like blogs and tweets and Twitter chats, and we can use them as part of our professional development and put them into our portfolios, and actually say, we're learning within this space. We're learning and we're growing with each other, and that's really important. So I've gone from a space where actually I was quite fearful of social media, quite reticent to take part in social media, and actually kind of almost lacking the skills and the confidence to be within this space, to somebody who is really well connected. I feel that I'm totally up to date with my professional development. I feel that I know what's going on in nursing and in wider healthcare now, and that's down to social media, and in particular Twitter and the use of Twitter. So I'm sitting here now, and I would certainly encourage anybody to take those first steps, and even if they're tentative first steps, so even if they're steps that are kind of, you just want to sit and watch for a while, that's fine. But the important thing is to take those first steps, because you can get so much from this space. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's made sense. And you can follow me on Twitter at Agency Nurse or at WeNurses, and feel free to tweet me and just say that you've seen this video, and I'll give you a wave. Hello. Take care. Bye bye.